New efforts to combat violent crime and keep you safe. The DeKalb County Police Department is teaming up with the U.S. Department of Justice for an exclusive public safety program.
Atlanta News First, Brittany Ford, she spoke exclusively with the police chief about what this means for the department.
The DeKalb County Police Department is the first agency in the state to participate in this program. We sat down with the police chief who walked us through some of the trends they're seeing and how this new program will help them combat violent crime.
But what can we do? What's the driving factor? How can we work with outside resources to address some of those factors that we as police normally can't control?
Those are questions DeKalb County Police Chief Mirtha Ramos is hoping to get answered through their new partnership with the U.S. Department of Justice.
Even though our violent crime numbers are down, and they have been decreasing every year, I still really feel like we need to do better. We need to bring those numbers to a more manageable level rather than bringing it down by small increments.
The department was selected to participate in the DOJ's National Public Safety Partnership Program. The exclusive program will provide the department with intensive training and technical assistance to combat violent crime.
So they're going to assess technology. Are we using all the technology that's out there, or is there something that we're lacking?
For the next 3 years, federal law enforcement partners will work alongside DKPD. Ramos listed the top crime trends within the county.
We want to find a way to combat crime, but specifically violent crime, guns, gangs, youth. That is what we're dealing with right now.
Efforts to elevate their mission to protect and serve.
We need to be able to strengthen ourselves so that we can continue to do what we do in the community.
The program starts next month. In Tucker, Brittany Ford, Atlanta News First.